Hello, Ms. 4 here to give you feedback on your Check for Understanding 5.2. If you've gone through 5.1, bless you, that video was much longer than I was hoping it would be, and at the very end I realized to tell you guys that in YouTube it will let you change the speed at which I talk. So for a lot of you guys, it would probably be extremely helpful if you changed the pace at which I talk to twice as fast. Because most of you guys can understand what I'm saying, but have the information given to you that quickly. So feel free to do that. I wouldn't necessarily skip through problems that you got right, just in case there's something that you missed or something that I say that adds value for you. But you got to do what you want to do. So you do you, boo-boo, is what I'm getting at. Once again, like with CFU 5.1, if you turned it in, I have it graded, and I would wait to finish this video until I have sent it to you, until I've emailed it to you, so that you can compare your answers to the answers that are here. And I think that is it. So, without further ado, number 1 is beta. I can never remember if there are 50 states or 51 states, and I did not want to have to go through and figure out how many observations were in each bin. So I calculated, well, where would the median be if there were 50 states, and where would the median be if there are 51 states? And I got between 25 and 26 or 26. Either way, that would be within this bin, because this looks like it's 24 observations. So observation 25 and observation 26 are in the 10 bin, so your only option is beta. 2 is echo. So once again, this one tells you there's 50 states, if you estimate the frequency in this bin, the 24 bin, and then in the 26 bin, that's over 25 out of 50, I think, or right about there, so this one is echo. C, which of the following statements is true? You can't use stem plots for categorical data. Your only options are bar charts and pie charts, or a table. So it's definitely not A. Stem plots are equally useful for small and large data sets. A stem plot for a very large data set is not necessarily going to make sense. It's going to make more sense if you're doing it by hand to do a histogram. And this is, this can be true. It's just not the best answer, I would say. Stem plots allow you to see symmetry, gaps, clusters, and outliers. Yes. Stem plots may or may not show individual values. They always show individual values. That's the biggest advantage to a stem plot. Stems may be skipped if there is never skip a stem. Never ever skip a stem. So beta, echo, Charlie. Number 4 is also Charlie. I got about 61 out of 136 students. 5, make a stem plot of the history scores. I split the stems. That's probably the best way to go. If you did not split the stems, I did not mark you wrong. I just suggested split your stems. When you make your key, using context is extremely important. So instead of just giving a number, give the context for what that number represents. So these represent number of points. The median is 72. The shape is skewed to the left. The score of 40 creates a gap in the data and is an outlier. If you're going to claim something is an outlier, you probably should show that you checked 1.5 times IQR. So for almost all of us, because we discussed this one in class, we put it is an outlier, but if this were an exam and I'm making that claim, I think that my AP grader would be asking themselves, how do you know it's an outlier? It's easy for you anywhere up here, use this as scratch paper and show that you're calculating the lower bound and the upper bound. So for future reference, if it is a test, I would absolutely show that I verified that it's truly an outlier, even if it doesn't ask me. If I have the time, I'm always going to show the work. Number 6, I estimated the number of observations in each bin. I got that our median would be the 44th observation. That's delta. We talked about 7. I got 40%. And for most classes, we talked about 8. It is Charlie. You can see my reasoning. I'll zoom out a little bit. My face is in the way. Get your face out of the way, ma'am. Oh my gosh, this is the never-ending assignment. Number 9, teacher, get a grip. You guys already did this problem in the last CFU, so my biggest feedback here was make sure that you label your axes. If you're seeing a delay in this video, I apologize. What I'm seeing on my screen is very delayed, so hopefully that's not what you're seeing. For the Alaska problem, 10 is beta. 11 is telling you ignore the outlier. If you ignore the outlier, it's Charlie. Beta, Charlie, and then 12, Charlie. And you can see that I calculated found my median here. It told us there are 50 states, right? And the District of Columbia. So 51, so this is the 26th observation. Okay, this one, lots of you guys need feedback on this, so if you've been halfway listening, now's the time to rejoin. Calculate the mean, show your work, 295.4. Find the median, show your work, 293. My work is the adequate amount of work that needs to be shown. Suppose that we change the heaviest lineman from 341 instead of 321. How would this affect the mean and the median? You should recalculate and give the values. So you should recalculate, give values, and use the words increase or decrease or stays the same. So in this case, I have that the median stays the same. The mean increases, and I give the actual value. The mean increases to 298.3. The median stays the same. Last, this is showing that the median is resistant to outliers. They want to see you use this word resistant. D, find the interquartile range, show work. E, when you're calculating your lower bound and your upper bound, label it. You should, in the very least, write, this is my lower bound, this is my upper bound. There are no low outliers in the original data set, and there are no high outliers in the original data set. But if we consider the heaviest lineman being 341, 341 would have been a high outlier. That was not required for you to get full credit, but it is something to consider. That in the original data, there are no outliers, but if the heaviest lineman was 341, then this guy is a high outlier. Last problem, I just verified that you did it because in both classes, we talked about this. One thing to note is I personally think the distribution looks better with split stems, and I gave context on my key. The context is these are the number of questions answered correctly. So you have, or should have, 5.1 and 5.2 passed back to you graded. So these videos are meant for you to do corrections if you need to. The next 3 videos are going to be feedback and hints. You have not turned those assignments in. Family, before you watch those videos, really try the assignments. If you just use the videos that I am going to post for you to do those assignments, you are hurting yourself in the end. You are getting a grade that does not represent how you are going to do on the test. I think for a lot of the students last year, they did not pass because they relied 100% on the solutions videos that I posted. So that's why I did not give you links to the solutions. That's why I do not encourage you to look at those solutions and watch them, because if that's what you get used to, when you get to your test and you have to do it on your own, you're going to get a 1 or a 2. There is no doubt in my mind. So please do the assignment before you watch the feedback. Okay, love you. This one was a little shorter. We did it.